What's going on, everyone? It's a fantastic Saturday, and welcome back to the Season Gaming Bitcast. Great show for you today. Two returning guests, two of our favorite people we interact with in the community. And but before I get to them, of course, I have to shout out to my partner in crime, Mr. Hitman, Agent 7, coming to you from your mom's house. You might not even realize that, honestly.
I'm always at your mom's house. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah. What's going on, man?
I'm good. It took me, a good day to get my Hitman game going, but
okay,
we got there. Listen, I got a little bit of something for you now, and when I do this, I'm not leaving, so sorry, but just understand this is something that I've been working on. I've had a buddy been working on for a little while. It's kind of a passion project for me. So if you just give me 1 second.
All right. So for the audience, then thank you, chat. Good to see everyone. Don't know what's going on right now. Dan said he has a surprise announcement to make. So, we'll see what happens. But, we'll play this little clip ahead of time here.
Exclusive world premiere.
What happened?
Just playing the world premiere clip for you.
Oh,
man.
There it is. Okay, are you guys ready for this?
No.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Look at this. Shout out to number one, Dinero Primero, my good buddy Diego, who has designed an amazing shirt. This is a prototype that I had done, but look at the Assassin's Creed.
It's awesome. I do, yeah.
The 7. I mean, it's really, you got to appreciate it. Little lines, just like the logo in Assassin's Creed.
Looks just like it.
It's fantastic. It's a little big, but that's more of like the people that made it, I think.
Yeah.
But I love this. Actually, it's the first time I wore it. I actually had to take the tag off literally like 3 seconds ago. I got it. I should have probably washed it. It's a little stiff, but right here, 7. So
man,
up to you. You can do. I've got the stuff. You can do whatever you want with it. You can put it on the store if you'd like. On our Threadless store, you could throw it up there for a limited time and give all the money to charity. You can put it up there forever. I don't care what you do with it.
We give all the money to charity anyway, but yeah, we'll put it up.
Right. Awesome. See, that's awesome. I don't want to put you on the spot either, though. But
well,
first,
why would that be putting me on the spot?
I just want to make sure you're okay with it. So.
Of
course. I'm gonna be rocking this pretty much every episode from now on.
Every review you do.
Yeah, every review. Now I'm gonna have to change everything. I need the Hitman stuff.
I was gonna say, is this a preview of what we can expect from Hitman 3?
So I'll just have every different game I review, I'll get the font for it. Have Diego make something up with whatever the score is in the background. But you got to integrate it the right way. Like,
oh my god, that's great though. I see Diego's in the chat. Always awesome work. Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
That's great, man.
There you
Good
go.
Surprise. All right, let's hit up our guest. So joining us for the second time, Mr. Ecjaxson, wearing the other Season Gaming shirt, which we always appreciate, of course. What is happening, man? Good to see you.
Not too much, man. I said, hey, I'm going to be back on, which I'm always honored when you guys invite me. So thank you again. But yeah, I had to rock, the Dinero shirt, man. I had to be accompanied. So, but no, man, I'm happy to be here as always, man. Definitely.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, and the support for our merch has been surprising. Honestly, when I started the store last year, I was like, we'll do this for charity, of course, but I honestly didn't expect the support. So all you guys who have picked up multiple shirts and rock them, it's super appreciated. So thanks again. Glad to have you back, man. It's been too long. We always love having you on. So yeah, excited to get into it here in a minute. Joining us, I don't know how many times it's been. He's a regular around these parts, but the first time in this new year, Mr. Luke Lore himself, InsipidGhost, the host of the Xbox Expansion Pass podcast. What's happening, man?
Cheers, boys. It's good to see you. I also am rocking the Season Gaming shirt.
Wait, I'm the only one not wearing a Season Gaming shirt.
Get it together, Ains. Get it together. Look, I'm here for one reason and one reason only. Yeah. Follow Xbox Expansion Pass. I'm here to make it known that Mr. Badbit is terrible And nobody should be listening to Mr. Badbit ever. He's one of the worst human beings. That Trophy Room podcast he hosts, it's hot trash in the summer. It's
the bronze trophy of podcasts. Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You want the 1K. You want the platinum. You listen to the Xbox expansion pass. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's all I just need. I need to get that off my chest, Ames. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
I was going to say, you sound like you're running for office or something. You got a speech going on.
When you count the legal votes, I'm cooler.
Landslide.
Oh man, we're off and running already this week. This is gonna be a good one. So, always good to have you all, man. And I'm looking forward to getting in this chat. So let's get into it. Let me real quick shout out though. I know some of the people watching already know this, but just crazy support and some of the articles that have hit this month for the site. So really cool surprise that Season Gaming already in January, we're a week away still to February, already is the highest traffic month we've ever had in our history. So Season Gaming is just rocking through, and just love the support, love all you guys. Thanks again. Just want to give that a quick shout out because it's cool to see. So let's get into the topics though, man. So Xbox Live, Is it going up in price? Is it not going up in price? What the hell are they doing? So I think as anyone watching this is aware, yesterday morning, Xbox announced that Xbox Live Gold, it seems like an almost forgotten service at this point, just because everyone uses Ultimate Game Pass to get it, but was going to double in price for annual and 6-month subscriptions, which just kind of seemed crazy, given that you can essentially buy Game Pass Ultimate for the same price if you're buying it from other stores, which gives you Ultimate and obviously hundreds and hundreds of games and new releases. This did not sit well with the community, as we know. I think pretty much everybody spoke out about this. It became a very hot topic very quickly. But I think what was most surprising about it is a company of Xbox's size, or a division, however you want to phrase it, reversed course in less than 24 hours, same day, and basically came back out, said, hey, we're not going to do this, and we've heard your cries about the free-to-play games being stuck behind the Live Gold paywall, and we're going to remove that in the coming months as well, which is, the right move, obviously. I mean, this just makes sense. People have been calling for that for a long time now. But what I want to hear from you guys about is, I work in a very big company. I think Microsoft's one of the biggest, right? And I think people lose sight of the big question is, how does this happen? How does this even get approved in the first place to do this price increase? And where I was going to try and defend it a little bit, and as I'm saying, and I'm probably going to walk that right back, but there's a lot of big things that happen in companies. Just, there's a lot of decision making that happens. Not all these leaders you see on Twitter see every decision that's made, even big ones, right? There's just too much going on. But at the same time, how could all of that executive staff, from the leaders on social media to Aaron Greenberg to Phil and all the ones we know, how could they not see this as a problem and let this get out the door? So, Luke, I'll start with you, seeing as you're host of an Xbox podcast. I know you're going to touch on this as well. What are your thoughts here, man? It just seems really odd.
It felt to me a lot like a case of the left hand not understanding what the right hand was doing. It felt like a very corporate decision.
Yeah.
By no means am I the first person to note this, but it felt very much like Xbox of old. The 2013 early days of the Xbox One. It felt like that group of decision makers was involved in this. And it hurt a little bit because it was such an unforced error and such a misstep by an Xbox PR team that has been fairly well on it for the last year and a half or so. And in the last 3 years, we've seen some very consumer-friendly business decisions that, of course, were designed to make money for the company, but benefited gamers tenfold. So to see something like this was surprising, not so much that it was anti-consumer, but the blind spot that they must have had to not recognize how this would have played out. You can argue lots of angles on this, the pandemic angle of people being very strapped for finances, for living conditions. You can argue different elements of comparative pricing to PlayStation. You can look at so many aspects of this and just think it's a terribly bad, unforced error. Not to mention, I was of the mind that Xbox Live was going the way of the dodo and needed to go away. And
Yeah.
I still feel like that. I still feel like Xbox Live needs to be nullified and simply free
In
to
terms
enter.
of a subscription service, you mean?
Correct. Yes,
Standalone,
yes. And yes, to be very clear, that's exactly what I mean. So it was just so odd and surprising. And to watch the retraction and the reversal was good. It was the best response to a bad situation that I think you could have seen. But then to watch the massive amount of Xbox employees that I follow on Twitter seemingly breathe a sigh of relief while they delivered the news meant that it was all that much more left hand not understanding what right hand meant. And I was very fascinated by the decision at first, Ains, and then the more I processed it, the more vitriolic I felt, the more frustrated I was. It was just short-sighted and a touch embarrassing, all things considered, I thought.
No, I think you're right. And the weird thing is, right, it wasn't even just like a digital announcement or this is coming. These subscription cards were already sent to stores. They were already in retail, which means this was not a decision that was made lightly or a short time ago. They had to produce and manufacture all those cards, ship them into whatever nations, they were making the price changes for. So this is months and months in the work. And to see it come out and then be reversed in the same day, to your point, it's just like you obviously there's miscommunication inside the company somewhere.
It looks all that much more strange next to the Halo Infinite marketing that is out there everywhere. I've got Infinite merchandise on my shelves.
Yep.
More immediately next to all the cyberpunk catastrophes of the last 2 months, it feels a lot like that. Sorry, buddy. And it was just wow, particularly within a week and a half of the apology from Cyberpunk. It almost felt like that same feeling, and perhaps I'm projecting in that case.
Probably.
But it just felt a little odd.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So Eric, I know that, I saw a comment you made about this, which, I think provided some good perspective, which is you guys need to leave thank yous over there and start, holding these companies a little more accountable rather than thanking them when they walk back something that should have never happened in the first place, which I think is a good way to look at it. So I kind of get a sense of your thoughts here, but please share.
Yeah. And I put that out there, and it's not to say like you can't be happy when a company that you respect and love, because we're gamers, so we love these things, and we do give them passes because we're gamers more so than probably any other industry, right? So that kind of goes without saying. But it was that sort of that thing of I saw people who were actually being vocal immediately the moment they kind of reacted, and the heads of Xbox kind of started talking. Oh, well, thank you so much. And, you guys do this the best. And I'm like, that's fine. It's fine to give, credit for getting back on track and reacting that quickly. But it's sort of like the reminder of these are corporations. They're going to stumble because ultimately their goal is to make money.
Yep.
It is not to be your best friend. And the moves that they're going to make, no matter how consumers friendly they seem, no matter who it is, it's in the effort to make money. So just keep that in mind. And remember, nobody here, no matter how big you are, whether you're an influencer or whatever the case may be, we give these companies lots of our dough.
Yep. And time and effort and everything else. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and let's stop looking at it in terms of, we're getting things for free and they're doing all these great things because we love it. We're still giving them money. So you have the right to be at them and say, okay, we appreciate you walking that back. Don't let that happen again. Show them that you mean business. Understand the relationship. You put out a product. I want that product as much as I love it. I gave you $500 for this. I gave you however much money for subscriptions or games or whatever the case may be. So don't do that again.
Yeah. It's almost like the conversation they're saying they technically work for us, right? We're the ones paying them.
Exactly. But people seem to have that backwards. And I think a lot of that is definitely because we're in a social media age and there is engagement. So sometimes some of those lines are blurred, because you do see that some execs have better relationships with some people. And I think some people kind of aspire to kind of having that, and they see that and they start to blur the line of, where the business meets the consumer and where the engagement meets the fan base type of thing.
Yep. Agreed.
And you have to remember where that line is. There is a line. There is a service that is given. You're not tweeting to car executives and thanking them for putting a windshield in your car. You expect there's a windshield, and if you're driving home and the windshield falls in, you're going to turn around and go back to the dealership and let them have it. So it's sort of the same thing. And now, granted, this Xbox Live thing isn't a windshield falling in on you, but at the same time, let them know, you appreciate the walk back, but at the same time, stay on your game, guys, because you were on a pretty good path of making good choices.
Yeah.
But on a consumer level, people need to remember, even with consumer-friendly choices, they are laid out to, again, kind of separate you from your wallet.
Yep.
And that's a good thing. It's a good thing to be consumer-friendly and to make choices that make people feel good about giving you that money. But it shouldn't be taken for granted. And that move they made seemed like a taking for granted type move in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Eric, you mentioned social media and some are more accessible than others. I, in my feeds, did not notice many people reacting with blatant hostility that we sometimes see. I didn't see the death threats and the assaults on individual people. Maybe that's my own echo chamber, but something about the response to this, negative though it might have been, didn't feel personal. Whereas I see sometimes decisions go after and lead to something that's a far beyond gaming. Is that just me, or did you guys see or notice that as well?
No, if I can jump in on that one.
Of course.
Yeah. When I put that message out, it was more so to get to the people who were kind of backsliding, because the one thing that did happen with this, it seemed like for once, I haven't really seen this since the Mass Effect 3 debacle, in my opinion, where people banded together to say, I don't like this. And gamers came together. We have a hard time coming together because we're so busy trying to prove who's better or knock people down. So this time, I give 100% props for gamers saying, hey, wait a minute, this isn't cool. And I hope we do more of that, because there are some other things that the other two should be doing that, kind of slides under the rug. And I've kind of seen people kind of talking about the $70 game thing. I'm thinking more in terms of why are your cloud saves behind paywalls?
Yep.
That shouldn't be the case, because almost every tech company has some form of cloud, structure that is free. And then there's a pay tier for it, but that's a little bit more one-to-one. I don't want to get in the weeds on that, but to agree with Luke, I would definitely still want to give the props to the fact that people kind of came together, and that's why you got the walk back. But that should show people, if you band together as one voice, you can make things happen. Because ultimately, again, that's what it comes down to, the dollar.
Of course. Yeah, and I think I saw the same thing. It wasn't hostile, to your point, Luke. It was more of everyone was kind of agreeing that, hey, this is a bad call. And I think that's why, even though it was a bad call, I think all of us are obviously in agreement there. It is nice to see how quickly they walked it back and hearing that. And I think that's the power to what you just said, Eric, of social media when it's used kind of in a positive way, which is one of the few aspects we normally talk about is positivity of social media. Yeah,
because Lou's right. It goes south so many times that we're kind of used to that. So when you see it go more so in a positive, like Luke said, I didn't see anyone like kind of, screaming and having vitriol or anything like that. It seemed, even in like the trolling and then the goofing of it, the message was the same, like, that's not cool.
Yep.
Or what are you guys doing? So yeah. So you definitely have to highlight that when we can. More of that, guys.
Graham, thanks, brother. $2 super chat. Corporations are not your friends. It's all business. It's very true. No matter the persona they put on. At the end of the day, like Eric said, there's a bottom line they have to meet.
Oh yeah. The thing with me was, I mean, when I saw the announcement, I was like, what are they trying to do? And obviously it looked like they were trying to push people into their Game Pass subscription model, and that's fine. I mean, I understand that,
Yeah.
But, according to them, the numbers have been steadily rising, going up and up and up. So I don't know if that was the need. If the need was there, maybe it was. But at the same time, that's not how you get people into your subscription. You do it with content. You do it with what this provides you. If I see something that's like say Netflix or something, they consistently put up more and more original stuff, and they put out more. That's what will draw people in. If you come out and just kind of underhandedly kind of be like, it's only like this much more for, but you get all this stuff, and that's fine. Great. I got it. Awesome. I'm not one of those people that I don't care necessarily because I've got Game Pass till 2056
Mm-hmm.
lockdown, and it was just for new customers, which was also weird.
Uh-huh.
You know, like it wasn't for everybody. Like if you had Xbox Live Gold and you just maintain your subscription service, you know, you'd be fine. You know,
Right.
for people bringing new people into the system, and so it's weird. It was weird for me to see that, you know, and I went from like thinking, man, like the Series S just kind of lost a ton of that value that it, you know, that it provides, you know, immediately as soon as they announced that. And then it went from, you know, because if I'm looking at a $300 console, then I got to pay $120 just for live, you know, on top of that. Then and just to play, say if I want to play Fortnite or Warzone or Roblox or whatever it is. So now I'm paying, you know, that's $420, or I can go buy a PlayStation Digital Edition if I'm only playing those free-to-play games. And even if I need to spend $60 for a year subscription, you know, in the long run, that's going to be cheaper for me if that's what I'm doing, you know. So it kind of devalued the Series S for literally like 12 hours. And then it turned it into even more of a value when they came back and rescinded the free-to-play, or said that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it just made, I mean, I've never seen a product in that, you know, to me, where it went from, oh, this is a pretty good value, to that's garbage, to this is even better value now all of a sudden. I mean, it's crazy to me how quickly things change. And, you know, and it's good on them for recognizing what was happening and doing the right thing, you know. So I'm all for that. You know, the people that were upset when I tweeted this out, if you didn't trust them after what this happened, you know, after this happened, then you probably didn't in the first place. You know, that's 100%, you know, on you.
Those are people just looking to cause
yeah, like there's people that came and I'm refunding my Series X. Okay, you know, good luck getting it back once you're screwed. But I mean, it's to me, it was a bad look. It was bad optics, like you guys said, and that was really the biggest thing, you know, and especially coming from a company that's been doing a really good job of getting just being consumer friendly, really, in the long run, and you know, with Game Pass, you know, value is all subjective. You know, I'm not going to comment too much on that, but it was a weird move, but you know, being able to recognize that mistake is key, and then going back and backtracking or taking everything back. I mean, you don't go, you know, if you go to like a restaurant and you know, order, I don't know, you know, if you go there 100 times and you've been doing it forever and ever, you know, it's your favorite restaurant. And I understand, you know, what people, you know, it's like, oh, they kind of screwed up my order, but you know, 100 times out of 100 times, they only screwed up twice. You know, I'm still going to be pissed because that's just me, you know, because I'm paying $60 for my damn steak.
Right.
I want my steak, you know, medium rare. You know, that's all there is to it. If you bring me a well done steak, I'm going to tell you to take it back. You'll probably spit on it, but you know, that's fine. You know, it'll cook off eventually. It's just so weird. Like people get into their you know, little ecosystems and get into their little bubbles and get into their echo chambers, and you know, that's all they care about. That's all they hear. You know, so it's okay to hold these guys accountable. And like Eric said, you know, it's all about money. You know, they don't care about anything else. You know, it's just money for them. You know, and what did that move have to do with, you know, aside from increasing the Game Pass subs, you know, which I think was probably one of their main goals. You know, they spent $7.5 billion on Bethesda. You know, they've got tons of money. Everybody knows that, but you also still have to make money somewhere. You know, that's what, you know, I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe they can just, maybe Xbox is just like a fun thing for them to do. Microsoft, you know, I don't know. But
I was going to say, I think Darren's point here is interesting too, because he's right. The earnings report for the first earnings report from Microsoft in 2021 comes next week on Tuesday, I believe. And so the shareholders, especially those, you know, they're the ones that they're making moves for. So
right.
Coming out of this with a ton of negative press a few days before the earnings report would not have been a good look.
No, it's the bottom line. You know, they screwed up. They fixed their mistake. Fine. Don't do it again. They knew better.
Yep.
Like you said, Ames, where what? It's not like there was like this one intern that was just like, yeah, we're just going to do this. This had to be, eyes had to be on it, and I don't know. It's frustrating to me that a company that has made so many good moves, especially recently, has, just makes this boneheaded mistake, but you got to make money too. And so where does that come from now? Like, where was those projected, increases in revenue that you were going to get from that going to come from now? Is that going to be passed on to us through a $10 raise in prices in games, or is it going to be something else? I don't know. Who the hell knows? All I know is, I'm good for 10 or 20 years, so no worries for Dan.
Earlier, Dan, you mentioned when you talked about the Xbox Series S, for that 12-hour window or however many minutes it was before they reversed it, that Series S box was extremely insidious. It was hostile towards the consumer in that window. And I found it really interesting because that box is designed to be an entry-level point. We've got multiple examples through the gaming industry where very cheap buy-ins to something, like the Wii is a good example, or a very cheap buy-in to something then wraps up your wallet for years to come. And we've got many examples where even free-to-play can keep your money. If you have a product worth selling, if you let the barrier for entry be null or very low, people will spend more money than the console's actually worth. And that Series S, $300 entry point, not much memory, but you can go free to play. You'll have access to xCloud once that goes live on the console space. But having all the extra stuff that you would need to play, it reminded me of the Wii, where you get it real cheap, but then you have Virtual Console. None of those go on sale hardly ever if it's a first-party Nintendo game. And then you've got peripherals, and then you have a lot of other elements to it. And for that window of time, getting a Series S, even without a memory expansion, would have been, in my mind, almost more expensive than a Series X in some ways, because every game has to be digital and every game has to be online to recover. And most of those games are nigh unplayable without having online. And it was just that there was an element to it that just felt extremely wrong. And it wasn't a flash in the pan, to Ains's much earlier point. They had marketing for this. They had to produce these things, ship them to various markets. That worries me on some level. And I will, as many other people do, shill and market for Game Pass all day long because it is the best value in gaming. But for that window of time, the Series S and Xbox Live Gold felt insidious and hostile towards the consumer. And I'm glad that this happened. I'm glad that this happened the way it did. I'm glad that we got the reaction, because it's a nice, comfortable reminder for those who might shill for a company or a brand that they are not impervious to wanting more money. They have to make money. And also, they are not your best friend. My arch enemy, Mr. Babbitt, often says that Bill Spencer is everybody's best friend. People treat him like a god, and they'll put him in the highest ranks until something like this happens, and they'll pretend like it's the company. It's always the company. And
yep, correct.
They have a business plan. Sometimes those business plans suck, Don Matrick, but there's an element to it that I wanted to just note. That Series S was vile almost.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
it's fun. Sorry, Eric, go ahead.
No, I was just going to throw one thing out. I'm going to ask you guys this because I thought about this earlier. Is there any part of this that happened because of conversion rates on Xbox Live Gold 1 year subscription when it comes to conversion into Game Pass? Because we've all seen, every now and then, again, randomly, Wario tweets out Xbox Live Gold cards are, $31 or whatever, right? And it doesn't convert out as far as, say, just like picking up a Game Pass card. But is there any part of that maybe had some motivation to this too? Moving it to a 6 month as opposed to a year. I know people probably were cashing in on some of those,
Yeah, and that was part of their original announcement, right? Oh, by the way, if you'd rather just convert your Xbox Live Gold time to Game Pass Ultimate. Right. So, I mean, it's pretty clear that the plan was a gentle shove, if there's such a thing, to push more people to Game Pass, or at least new subscribers as well, given the price difference. So it was kind of it felt like a play at both existing and new subscribers to move to Game Pass. And neither of them were a good move, in my opinion. Because now, like you said, the damage, even though they're respected among the community who already supported them for reversing, if it's only 12 hours, so I don't know how big the impact was or whatever the time was. But if that had stayed out there and you're a new consumer, to your guys' point, whether you're picking up an Xbox Series S or X or whatever, if you're a new Xbox Live, you're like, why is it so expensive? And what am I getting for it? And it just didn't make a lot of sense. So
it also looks bad next to the PlayStation Plus element, which
exactly.
is whether they're apples to apples or not. Game Pass is now the comparison to PlayStation Plus in my mind, because when you have PlayStation Plus, you also have the instant game collection, and
you get some really great games.
Yeah, that slate is incredible.
Yeah,
the amount of games I have just for owning a PS5 and PlayStation Plus, it's incredible. There's so many great quality titles there, and until Microsoft produces those things, their ability to push the limits and get away with things is very low. They can't pull a Nintendo not having an online infrastructure. They don't have Nintendo games yet. They don't have some of the leeway that other companies do. And I was worried in this moment, or in this decision, that they had forgotten that. Seemingly they did not now.
Right. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, you guys. So shortly before that announcement, they announced the next month's games with gold, right?
Yeah, they did.
Gears 5 was on there.
Gears
right?
5, yep.
Yeah, it was 5 games instead of your 4.
Yep.
You think that was kind of like one of those things where it was like, yeah, we're going to put Gears 5 on here. Everybody can get it for free. Even if you have, if you have Game Pass, I would assume you could, like, if you ever wanted to get rid of it, you could just download it and then go back to live, and assuming they keep that.
Yes.
So
that's correct.
You think that was part of, like, kind of a stepped announcement? Like, here, we're going to give you this. Then we're going to, kind of come out here and say, also, we're changing this, the price point for Xbox Live, But I mean, maybe it was like, yeah, we're increasing it, but you're getting Gears 5 and possibly other games of that stature going on, from here on out. Not that, then you just kind of have to weigh, it's all in the consumer's hands.
I don't think it was an accident.
Yeah.
If that's what you're asking. I think that definitely was planned.
Nor is it an accident that Gears 5 is sustained by microtransactions in the multiplayer space and just had a single player expansion.
Correct.
And they don't have as many Gears 5 caliber games to play around with. There's also that they only have but so many that they could use as a motivator for entering their ecosystem. But it was nice to see there was some conscious decision to up the quality of games with gold, if only for a short time.
Right. This is like their best month in I don't know how long. Because I saw the lineup, I was like, where was this like a couple of months ago? That's a pretty good lineup. Okay, so no coincidence then.
Right.
Yeah.
My other question for you guys is, how does this now change Halo Infinite launch? Because it was going to be free to play anyway, right? Now you don't need
Correct.
Xbox Live or anything. You can literally buy the console, assuming that it's not 800 gigabytes. You can buy the Series S, and you're in. That's it.
Exactly.
How much of a moneymaker is that for Microsoft in the end?
It had to be a light bulb that came on. It's like, wait, we're about to launch our biggest game of the generation, at least for now, right? With a free-to-play multiplayer suite that'll pull in tens of millions of players, and we have a paywall. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if they had plans to drop that in an announcement at some point, but they said, you know what? We have to do this, make good, go ahead and drop it.
Correct. Now. I would bet that's the case. It wasn't like we're just reversing this. It was like, all right, throw the paywall news in there now. And that's why I think Aaron Greenberg said in the coming months, because they probably weren't ready to announce it, but they felt like they needed to add that kind of cherry on top to reverse this.
Right.
Yeah. Good job by them.
Interesting.
And so smart too, because that Halo Infinite, it'll whether it lives or dies, they need as many hands on to try it. They were going to have a lot of hands on thanks to Game Pass. Certainly the multiplayer was free to play, but there are so many entry points to it thanks to xCloud, thanks to PC and now Xbox. There's an equalizer there with removing the barrier for free to play games. And it'll either flop bad or it'll rock something crazy. I don't see an in-between for Halo Infinite's multiplayer suite right now. And I'm very curious to see how it plays out, how they're able to deliver it, and what's available on what perspective platform. That'll be a really fascinating aspect.
Well, I appreciate the balance perspective, but if you mention Halo and flopping again, I may have to mute you. I just want to let you know.
Come on, man. Look behind me. Oh, wrong side. Wrong side. Yeah, come on, man. I got Chief all over this room.
Good. All right. That's the only reason you're still talking right now.
Hey, look, I got a little Mega Blocks Chief. I got a little Totaku Chief. You know,
What, you mean this one?
Yeah, there he is.
Jeez.
Let me see what else do I have within.
I don't have anything else
within Halo Reach.
I got all these Mega Blocks right here. It's, you know.
Actually, I got Chief and Cortana right behind me. What am I
Yeah,
talking
I'm
about?
literally all I can think of right now is like Ains and Luke, like sitting Indian style on the floor,
Yeah.
playing with their little games like they were 5 years old.
arguing over who's Master Chief. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
I'll be Spartan 118. You can be 117 this time.
I'll be Chief. You can be Buck.
Yeah, geez.
Buck's good. I like that.
Yeah, Buck's good. Buck's good.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to shout out to Game On Daily, Asa, Season Gaming 7, and he said, "Is that the best? Is that the best season gaming you can get? The best score?
Best shirt.
Best shirt." There was another comment I was going to call out on, and I can't remember. Good question for Matt. What's up, Matt? How many here are actually paying currently the $15 a month for Ultimate? I just started last month after my gold conversion. And what I was going to say to that, I know a lot of people did that $1 conversion they did at the time, which kind of put some time out there for a while, but you can still get here and there Ultimate for really good deals. So I think the 3-month one, right, is normally $45, but a few times recently they've had them where they're almost half price. I know I got several 3-month cards for like $24 each or something like that.
Yeah, I racked up a few over the holidays.
Yeah. So that's what I would recommend rather than just, upping your subscription via your Xbox on Xbox Live. Definitely look around because you can get it. You can save almost half the money.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, just keep an eye out. Follow people like Wario. He's posting stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. I didn't say this, Luke, but Walt's putting it out there.
If I were wearing pants, I'd get up and grab all these cheap statues. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh my God.
Welcome to Season Gaming.
Yes. This is the mature chat we've got going here. But okay, I think we've touched on enough of the Xbox Live drama at this point. Let's move over to getting excited about some new games coming, man. And that's I'm excited about the horror aspect here. So what I wanted to talk about was the Resident Evil Showcase first, and then we can kind of move over to the medium and just talk about horror in general. But let's start with Resident Evil Showcase, man. So I have no idea. I know Dan's obviously, we joke a lot around, not a big horror game fan, but are either of you horror game fans?
Yep.
Okay, so Eric was a quick nod. Yes, Luke was an in-between kind of maybe.
It's hit and miss. Very hit and miss genre because it's one of that I'm very selective with. There are a lot of bad horror games out there, a lot of jump scare games, and a lot of incredible experiences that happen to fall within the horror genre.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, I don't know about. I mean, Eric, if you're big into it, I know. Resident Evil 7 for me was a great game. I felt like it really captured a lot of what made Resident Evil great. I personally loved the change to first person. I enjoyed it a lot. And what I'm seeing out of 8, we actually talked about 8 last week when Benji was on because he's a big fan too. I was already hyped for the game, but the showcase this week, it just looks freaking incredible. I have the demo downloaded. I haven't had time to try it yet. Have you? Has anyone?
I don't have the PS5 yet, so.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm looking through the window of the shop, like, So, but no, man. After RE7, and you probably remember this, Ains, when they started talking about first person, you might have groaned like some of us. Like I did. Like,
yeah.
First person, how's that going to work? And man, what a surprise, right?
Yep.
So, I kind of replied to shout out to Sam Tober when he put out a tweet the other day, and I said, I pre-ordered that game in my head the minute I finished RE7.
Yes.
So then seeing it in the showcase, I'm like, the atmosphere of that, you got like the vampire thing going on.
Yeah.
I remember when they announced werewolves. And I remember people kind of pushing back on that too, like werewolves. I'm like, yes, I want to see what the Resident Evil version of a werewolf is.
Yeah. Come on, you got to expand, man. It's been 25 years and like 30 games. Come on.
And everyone does zombies. Let's push into it, and pleasantly surprised. So just in the little like segment and sample size that we got, the atmosphere of that game looks so intriguing. So I'm ready. Incredible. 100%.
Looks very gothic, almost Dracula-ish in a way, It just looks what is going on in our chat here? So I don't want to overlook Cyber real quick, guys. Real quick. He just jumping back. I did forget to ask this to you guys, and I know it's a topic that comes up a lot. You guys think we see an Xbox Game Pass price increase sooner rather than later? Super fast.
No.
No. Okay.
Not after that.
Not after that. Yeah, there might have been one.
buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's an inevitable price increase for Game Pass coming, but it will not happen until 2024, I bet.
Yeah, I think it's a little. I definitely don't think this year, but sometime it's going to happen eventually, right?
You need to have that content, like I said before. You need to have 5 or 6 big ones that you can go, this is why we're increasing it.
Yeah.
And
once their studios start hitting. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Once that starts doing, then
and
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Same. And the big hitters won't really start hitting until 2022, late 2022 for their bigger stuff, right? They've got stuff, but the big things that are going to be exclusive, the reasons they bought those companies, those are going to be hitting 2022 and beyond. And that's the time to boost it. So if you're in on the ecosystem, stack those things when they go on sale, because you can get great deals for them. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm good till 2023, and I'll bump it up. I'll add to it as different sales go on. But such a great progress, or such a great service.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, back to Resident Evil. Funny enough, so Joseph said he played it and he said it looks amazing. And Asa quickly responded with "Fight me," and it looks. Oh, that's the wrong one. It looks pants. So, which if you're not British, it means it looks like crap. So, so I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. It's weird. I've seen some people say it looks last gen, and then I've seen other people say it looks incredible. So I don't know how we're getting such a difference in opinions on what this Resident Evil Maiden, which is what the demo's called. Thing. Go ahead.
Did your stomach drop a bit when they announced that it is coming to the he said current gen, but I don't really consider.
Yeah, that was
mine didn't. I'm not one of those people that is like hard lined. If it's not next gen only, it's gonna suck type people. Mm-hmm. What they've shown from a gameplay perspective and the graphical fidelity, and knowing it's going to be 60 FPS on Series X and PS5. I think it looks great. I mean, it may, they may have made some sacrifices or cuts or whatever here and there, but I mean, I'm not one of those hardline people. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
When it comes to graphical type stuff, I think we have a lot of examples where the graphics of a game can enhance the experience, but it doesn't need to be the pixel perfect elements every single time to have a great game. I mean, you can go get any of the good Switch games, all 6 of them, and they're just messing with you guys.
But, and how many of those 6 are ports? No, I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh,
that's a very good point. Yeah, it's a great Wii U system. All right, so Resident Evil 7, in my mind, is one of the best horror games ever made, and I would say definitively that it is the best if I had more experience in the genre. Yeah, but it is just
but it's up there.
It certainly has to be up there. And I loved what I played with Resident Evil 7. If Resident Evil Village looks like 7, then we're in for a visual treat anyway. When you're dealing with shadows and gore effects and whatnot, it did a wonderful job at scaring and invoking fear. I think there's a wonderful aspect of that. When you look at what they're trying to do with Resident Evil, I think it's too much. I'm stoked for Village. RE-verse, I don't even know how to react. I think in some ways,
reverse, yeah.
It's a little bit strange there, but Village looks wonderful. The family that they're taking on really gives me good PT
this chick
vibes.
Got famous pretty quickly.
Yeah, right. She sure did, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
ooh, I got a lot
everyone's like, "How am I going to fight her? Like, I love her."
yeah. I'm getting oof. Okay, let's stay focused here, guys. I really am liking with the direction they're going with Resident Evil. It is a departure in some ways from the more traditional RE2 and RE3 remakes. It's first person. I love that. I think a lot of people learn from the PT demo way back that first person can be done right, can be really scary.
Absolutely.
And it's funny because Project Mara from Ninja Theory, a lot of people were like, oh, it's in one room or one building. It's like, that was what Resident Evil was. That's what PT was. That's what RE7 was. I'm stoked for RE8. Really excited for it. Don't care if it's last gen or now current gen. I'm just stoked to see more of the horror Resident Evil back in front.
Right.
A little comment for you, Luke. So I'm gonna stop putting up the pictures from the girl.
Really out of myself when I told everybody, huh?
Yeah, what do you think here, Eric?
No, the reason I asked the question is because I did see some people kind of having that concern, and I get it, you know, with the whole cyberpunk thing that's going on.
Of course, yeah.
So, and I think up to this point, like we weren't sure, so they just confirmed because we up to this point thought it was a next gen only game. So I'm in the same camp with you that no, I don't think if a game is cross gen that it ultimately, you know, immediately means that it's dead in the water. Is going to be something screwy. You know, if anything, I think the current gen consoles have the power to kind of pick up for whatever slack may happen, right?
Yeah, and we forget that Resident Evil 7 was a past gen game. You know what I mean? It was fantastic.
Yeah, and RE engine is, I mean, we've seen the effects of how proven it is as an engine. It's
flexible.
solid. And Capcom's really good at doing this kind of thing of a cross-generational, you know, thing. There are no slouches with that, right? So, so I don't think on that level, I think there's going to be an issue on that. I think performance-wise, it'll run almost the same as RE7 on the, you know, the last
probably, console.
You'll probably get something of a performance boost and bump on the current gen, but I don't think there's going to be any debacle where it's just everything is screwed up.
Yeah.
You know? So,
agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I really, you know, one of the interesting things to me too is Chris Redfield coming back and looking the way he does, which, you know, is really interesting. So, you know, what do you guys thoughts? Is he a werewolf?
I think so.
Yeah.
Hell?
Is that what they're going to surprise us with? I don't know, but
those werewolves look good. Or like the stuff they're doing in that almost gives me Order 1886 vibes, but cooler.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is kind of neat. Order 1886 had a lot of good ideas.
It sure did.
And I'm stoked to see visually kind of that same design element come back. And it just looks neat to watch the vampire elements, the werewolf elements play a part in this role. When Resident Evil loses itself for me is when we get too much into the science aspect of it. And that was what I loved so much about 7 is the majority of the game you are just in a house trying to deal with this just tremendously terrible set of circumstances. But when we get into like underground bunkers and a lot of the Resident Evils, and when you're in these massive umbrella complexes, something about that sterile nature feels like a different branch of horror, more like Dead Space. And I prefer the first person Resident Evil to the run and gun action of Resident Evil.
Yeah. I think it was you, Luke, who mentioned you know, they're doing an awful lot with Resident Evil, and they are, but Capcom has been just on a winning streak. I mean, you can argue that RE3 was never, in my opinion, the best Resident Evil game anyway. It was always more like a big expansion to RE2. But if you look at how good the remakes were received, and how, you know, it's kind of playing homage to the classic RE fans, but they're moving so far forward with 8 and expanding the universe, the lore, anything, whatever word you want to use there. And then also, you know, you're going to get this, which looks staggering, like we just said. And then next year, we're probably going to get RE4 remake, which many people consider RE4 not only the best Resident Evil, but one of the best games all time. So if they handle it with the degree they did of like RE2, I mean, Capcom is just on a roll with this franchise. And that's even before touching on the other thing they showed, which is the Netflix animated Resident Evil show that's coming this year. So we know the Resident Evil movies are as goofy as they can be. I mean, I'm not even a big fan of them, but I mean, you know, they have an audience.
The first one I actually like. From there, it just goes off the rails.
It goes completely, goes into left field and out of the ballpark.
First one soundtrack is dope. That Marilyn Manson track.
Yes, I know the one you're talking about. It's fire. But the you know, being on Netflix, Resident Evil animated, that it's gonna get tens of millions of views. So I mean, Resident Evil is as big as it's ever been, which is kind of crazy, seeing as the first game was 96, I believe. I'm going off memory.
And now you can play it in games of gold.
For $120. No, wait, no, never mind.
No.
Anyway, Dan, I saw your comment that you downloaded this. You looked at it and smashed your PS5. So is your PS5 safe?
Yeah, it's there. Here's the thing. like I downloaded it and then I looked on Twitter and like they had like the first, I don't know, 10 seconds.
And by the way, not to interrupt you, but why are people? I saw multiple people post a clip from the demo that is supposed to surprise you for people playing the demo. I'm like, why are you posting this?
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I just saw like where like the very beginning of it apparently where it just says Maiden and then you like stand up. Yeah, and that was enough for me.
You got to the title screen.
Yeah, like when you're in the shape I'm in, you know, you kind of have to decide between, do I want to play these horror games that could possibly stop my heart, or do I want to eat candy bar or something like that? So it's more of a balance, like a lifestyle choice for me than it is, I can't handle it. I also can't handle it, but that's neither here nor there. So it looks really cool, and so did Resident Evil 7, but I didn't, how far I got in that was non-starter.
Are you interested in like the Netflix series in terms of Resident Evil as a franchise?
I'm not a huge animated guy.
Me
there's very few. Like there's some Batman ones that are really good that I like. Those are probably the ones that I'll watch more than anything else. But it's got to be better than the movies, probably. I'm just guessing, but so that's probably something that I probably won't be watching. I mean, and again, maybe it'll be really good, and I'll check out the first episode, and if I make it through that, then, there's two.
So yeah. So Elu is right on point here in the chat. So yes, Code Veronica is one of the best Resident Evil games there is. We need a remake of that, a proper one. And he said, say it again.
In there, Parasite Eve. That game.
I'm getting there. Hold on. Another Resident Evil 1 remake. I've heard other people say this, and I would say, yes, I'm down for it, but what they should do, in my opinion, is also do Resident Evil 0, the prequel that was on GameCube. Mm-hmm. Make 0 and 1 a singular package as a new remake in the RE engine. Then you've got me on board. If you just do Resident Evil 1 again, it's like, I don't know how many times I can run through that same. I've played it so many times, but if 0 was actually underappreciated, in my opinion. If they kind of mix those together, it could be really fun.
And there's an element to doing that we are not going to think of. It's Ains, you say you don't want to do that again. How many people have not played that game?
True. That's true.
Right? And those tank controls are a barrier of entry for a lot of gamers. Yeah. So if they did a 0 and 1 combination, called it Resident Evil Beginnings or something like that. Yeah. You'd have a whole new generation back in on a franchise, because it's tough to start when something says Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 8. And that's why they call it Biohazard or Village.
Yep. Right. Exactly.
That's why it's not Halo 6,
Correct. Yeah. And Gears is supposedly going to move away from it too. Yeah. But all those, yeah. So, and Forza Motorsport's another one where they're getting away from the numbering. But anyway, Parasite Eve. I know, Walt, we've talked about Parasite Eve. Dan and I have probably preached about that game many times on the Bitcast. That is an absolute legend of a game on PlayStation 1. Squaresoft, back when it was Squaresoft, not Square Enix. Mm-hmm. And they were a legendary developer, man. Between those early Final Fantasy games, Parasite Eve, I mean, the list is ridiculous. That would be great.
Pedigree, man. Hell of a pedigree.
Yeah. All right. We didn't see an update. Yeah, there is Reverse. Apparently, if you pre-order Resident Evil Village, you get this kind of goofy, kind of fun co-op Resident Evil experience that just takes a bunch of characters from all the games and throws it into like an action game. It didn't resonate with me too much, but if it's free with Village, hey, I'll try it, check it out.
Mm-hmm. Ains, you know what it reminded me of? The tale of two Konamis and two Capcoms, where you have Metal Gear Solid 5, but then you get Metal Gear Survive. And then you have the Resident Evil. Remember, not Umbrella Chronicles. There was one, Operation Raccoon City. It's like, it reminds me of kind of like those spin-offs that it's like, maybe don't.
There's like that D team that sits in the corner in the basement, and they're like, what can we give these guys this week? All right, I don't know. Maybe do some cartoon mix-up game. I don't know.
Student project. It's like holdovers from like, OG Xbox days, PlayStation 2 days. Like you get that, or not, I should say PlayStation 2. I'd say like maybe early 360 days, you get that multiplayer suite that comes with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this, okay. Like you said, if it's free, I'll check it out. I'm not the biggest multiplayer person to begin with, but I'm like, okay, I won't shoo it away, but at the same time, it didn't really like resonate with me. I was like, okay, well,
No, and you show it after Village, which showed so well. You know what I mean? Like everyone's pumped and up here, and then you show Reverse, and it's just like, okay, sure.
you're like, those are some frames in there, aren't they?
But the interesting thing here, guys, and kind of just a small segue over to just horror in general, which we've kind of touched on a little bit. But you know, this seemed to create very positive waves this week for both Resident Evil and kind of horror game fans. And the Medium comes out next week, you know, formally. I'll be reviewing that for the site. But, you know, everything I've heard, and I've spoke to some people as well that are kind of reviewing it and playing it, I'm hearing incredible things. That they're saying the narrative is incredibly strong, and it's a game that's going to stick with you, which if you've played Bloober games, they usually do. They're those games that resonate with you after you've finished it. They don't always run the best. Performance can be janky, and that's what I'm really, you know, going to see about Medium. But I think this one is going to make some waves and kind of, I think, finally give Bloober a name beyond just the hardcore horror community. So, but I do find it interesting that horror seems to be, you know, top of mind within the gaming industry right now, which I personally love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for those people that love that kind of stuff, you know. And at one point, you know, that was me too. You know, back in the day, I played Resident Evils. I played, you know, all that stuff. Like, and you guys remember that PlayStation game D? Gosh,
No.
It's called D.
Yeah. No, you got it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's made by that crazy director. Not crazy, but you know what I mean. He makes wild games.
Right.
Yeah, D4 was the game that was on Xbox 360, I think, or one.
PlayStation D.
No, I know. There's multiple ones. There's multiple Ds.
Kenji Eno?
Say it again.
The developer's Kenji Eno.
Kenji Eno.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It looks like a horror game.
Yeah, he also made. He's the guy who did. Oh man, I'm really forgetting it right now. Sorry. Go ahead, Dan. I'll look it up real quick.
No, it was I'm glad that people that are into that genre, you know, get it. And Bloober's always kind of been right around there, but like you said, it's always been like more of a performance thing. I played some of that Blair Witch. It was a little bit janky, but then eventually it didn't really matter because I just said, no, this is not going to happen. You know, like all those games where you just have a flashlight and you're, you know, running around and then the batteries go out. I'm just like, well, this is, you know, stop with this stuff, you know. But you know, I'm going to try out the Medium because it's on Game Pass, right? And so I can, you know, not have to worry about purchasing it and give it a shot. Maybe, and to me, it doesn't look as much horror as it does like maybe psychological thriller, which I might be able to read a little bit more, you know. So I'm hoping that's what it is. You know,
there it is.
I'll learn a little bit.
Thank you, Asa. Yeah, Swery65. That's him. He made D4, which stands for Dark Dreams Don't Die. And he made Deadly Premonition, which is not a fantastic game, but it's like a cult classic. There's a diehard community that loves that game. So he makes really bizarre games. So
figure. But yeah, I mean, this is great for the horror fans, and you know, we're seeing a lot more of it, which is fantastic because we're still. It's not like stuff is suffering. It's not like we don't have anything else to play if we can't play the horror game. So
no, exactly. That's the great thing, right? And I also forgot to mention that just 2.5 weeks later, we get Little Nightmares 2 too. Which if you've played the first one or tried that demo, God,
that demo was so good, man.
So good.
So I'm hyped for that one too.
My stepson doesn't really play horror games. Hadn't played the first one, and he came down right when I started it. And he was just engrossed. He was standing there, and after like a couple minutes, he sat down and just watched me play the whole thing. He's like, "Wow, this is pretty cool looking." I was like, "Dude, yeah, it's amazing."
Man, the lighting that they do is
stunning.
It's just amazing. So yeah, but I recommend to people if you haven't picked up Little Nightmares, it's free right now. Grab it.
Yep.
Amazing game. Yep.
All right, Bomber. Medium doesn't look scary though. Tell Dan. Say.
No, I'm trying. I'm going to try it out. We're going to see what happens.
He's kind of right, though. I think, you know, Bloober does, you know, Blair Witch had some hardcore horror elements, but really Bloober focuses, it's more psychological. Right. They're more
Great
telling.
Alan Wake.
Say it again?
I'm sorry, Ains, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
It's got some Alan Wake vibes to it. and elements of thriller horror, and not necessarily all jump scares or kind of cheap horror. It feels more rich and more vibrant. And the other element to the medium that we haven't really touched on is that it is a Series SX exclusive.
Yep.
And I don't bring that up specifically for the Xbox exclusive element, but more for the next gen hardware, now current gen hardware. It'll be interesting to see what that means. What was it they thought they couldn't do on last gen hardware? Why would they not allow themselves that install base? Will this be a game that has legs and that everybody who gets into the next gen system in the next year will try out? Will this be on the cover of Game Pass for the next year or two? Will it stay exclusive? There's an element, a business element to this game that I'm interested to follow outside of just gameplay. And rumors are rumors and they do what they do, but a lot of rumors out there about, a Polish studio being picked up by Xbox. Is that going to be Bloober? Is Bloober involved in that? Is there some element to it? I think this one's a timed exclusive. But what does this mean for the future of the medium or the studio or whatnot? Because they have been working very closely with Xbox for some time. It'd be neat to see Microsoft double down on horror the way they have with RPGs. They have the future of RPGs almost cornered when it comes to Obsidian and, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on all the Bethesda games and stuff in Exile. Yeah. If they did the same thing with horror, that'd be a really fascinating element that perhaps the medium is the start of. But I think it is a timed exclusive. If I'm remembering,
I see Joseph saying that too. I was actually typing on mute trying to look it up because I forget. They, according to what I can find quickly, it's just there's no announcement specifically.
I don't know. This Joseph fellow sounds like trouble.
But I do know one of the things they talked about, because you mentioned earlier about like what they couldn't do on prior gen, right? And I know one of the things they mentioned is because they're running the split worlds and your capability to switch between them, they're really taking advantage of the drive bandwidth, and that the mechanical drives on the old consoles just can't do it. So that's one kind of neat aspect. That's probably one example we've heard realistically from a real developer who actually knows what he's talking about, or they know what they're talking about around why it needed to be next gen only. So let me get these super chats real quick, guys. Graham, make Dan review the medium for Season Gaming. He'd have to have a new shirt made. I don't know what it would look like. It would be brown.
It would also probably say 5.
This is why we don't let him review the medium.
About how many seconds I would make it through, probably.
Thanks, Graham. And Pampa, $5 Pampa is in the house. What are the chances of mannequins being in the medium? Oh, man. Yes, the Veins is playing very high. So if you're not familiar with the horror games, he's referencing Condemned, which is, in my opinion, one of the best horror games of all time. Yeah, if not, I'd say it's right up there. Silent Hill 2 is probably, I kind of think, near the pinnacle, but Condemned's right up there too. So thanks, Pampa. I appreciate that. What is this? Season Fan gave us a super sticker, a €10 super sticker. So thank you very much, man. Appreciate that.
That's your shadow account from the EU.
I recognize the avatar and I'm just struggling to place it. So please chat and let me know who exactly you are. But very generous. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. So Eric, man, like horror, talked about Resident Evil. What are you thinking on the medium so far? Are you interested?
Yeah, I was in on the medium for the first moment that they showed it. And then when they showed at the showcase, like the duality of it, like Luke was saying, like, yeah, what is it about this game where they felt it couldn't, be like a last generation game? So, yeah, so beyond that portion, I said, yeah, push forward. I want to see what this is. If you have something new to bring to the table in the horror genre, or something really cool, let's go for it. But just, from some of the Alan Wake vibes. Yeah. And
there's Silent Hill vibes a little bit too.
Yeah, some of the Silent Hill vibes. Yeah, I'm wondering, is this horror? Is it more suspense? Whichever it is, I'm down for. But it just looks like real. It just looked really cool, like from jump. So I was kind of in on it since day one.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yep. I'm the same way. And like I said, I love Bloober Team. Did you play Blair Witch?
Not yet. I have it in my long backlog that Game Pass continuously adds to. So
I would say
on it. Like after we get off, I might actually check it out because it's been sitting there. I just haven't gotten to it. But before the medium comes out, I kind of want to see what they're
Yeah, so I know it's so Blair Witch, I reviewed it. If you are going to try it, I would recommend two things. It can be a little janky. So you get some frame rate hiccups and whatnot. So push through that. The first hour or two is relatively slow, so you do have to get into it. But once that game hits, it hits really strong. And the final hour, depending on how much you play through it, I don't want to spoil anything, but you get to an environment and it is just freaking mind blowing. It's bonkers, like what they do to you psychologically. So it's worth.
Right?
Say it again.
It's about what 4 to 6 hours, from what I understand. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, I play games slow, so it took me, I want to say 7 to 8. So yeah, probably a normal person, 4 to 6.
Yeah, no, I play games slow too, so it'll probably take me to 7 because I'm going all over the place looking for everything.
Me too. And there's some discovery and kind of puzzles in the game. But you have a relationship with your dog in that game, which is really cool. And there's there's a lot going on. Dizzy, what's up, brother? Our brother from Lords of Gaming got the zip mouth because I know he's been playing Medium. He's reviewing it for Lords of Gaming as well. So pretty cool. Oh, Hassan too. I missed super sticker. Hassan, how you doing, man? He left a super sticker but didn't talk about Anthem. I don't know what we're doing anymore.
I'm all in on the horror. Let's keep it going, man. Like Callisto Protocol.
Oh God, yes.
Oh man, I need to see more of that.
Yeah, looks
like ASAP.
Yeah, and the Dead Space is their inspiration, and it's next gen only, and that's not even coming until next year. They said 2022, right?
Right.
But I will tell you. I'm sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The lag got me a little bit. I am all for some of these games that are coming out that are just landing with the right studios, with the right people.
Yes.
Some of them are spiritual successors, like Back for Blood. Others are IO getting James Bond. I mean, there are just some of these studios are just perfect for the games they're making. And I love these spiritual successors that are coming through so that Dead Space fans are getting the game that they've wanted for some time. It's really cool to see because I think it's feedback based. I think these companies, to a certain extent, are hearing the call out for the games that people want and responding to it, knowing full well they can make money in a market for it. And it feels different, say, than like Mirror's Edge Catalyst. People called for it, but it wasn't answered properly. You know, I'm looking forward to some of these games that are coming out. It just feels right with a few of them.
The start of this year with the announcements has been very good, right? And that's, you just touched on some of them. That's before even getting to Massive making Star Wars or Massive making Indiana Jones. Ubisoft, man, I'm all over the place.
Massive is Star Wars.
Machine Games making Indiana. But I mean, those IPs feel like they're in good hands with Lucasfilm Games coming back too, and just a lot of good announcements for the gaming industry this year so far.
And I'm 100% with Luke, man. Like with spiritual successors, like if the company who owns the IP is not going to do anything with it because of whatever reason, give me a spiritual successor. It doesn't have to be the exact IP.
Yeah,
that same flavor, that same vibe. I look at it, scare money, not gonna make money. So, you're gonna
that's one of those weird things. Sorry, Eric. I'm like Luke. There's a slight delay, I think, and it's messing me up. I don't mean to cut you off.
No worries.
What was I going to say? IP ownership is always a weird discussion. And one of the things I've liked recently is when a few companies, I know Microsoft did this too. It's just like, you can use the IP. And I know like the IP, for instance, with Insomniac, Sunset Overdrive is a big one to me. I know it's kind of a core community that wanted to see that come back and so forth. And they just gave that, that was part of the Insomniac thing. And so it'll be cool to see if they ever do anything with that as well. All right. So Dan, I think we got your thoughts on horror. I think we're good on that. So I will say though, knowing that we're not getting Silent Hills, despite the teaser we saw at the end of PT, the secret ending, because of all the fall through that happened there, of course. I still just want to shout out that despite not being the biggest Kojima fan, despite not, being the biggest Metal Gear fan, the rumor that their next game, Kojima Productions, is a horror game just has me all sorts of pumped up because I think the way he tells stories is unique. It's a little absurd at times to me, but translated that to a horror genre and the craziness of some of his ideas, I think it could translate really, really well. And I'm looking forward to see what they're doing. Yeah. All right. So I know, Eric, Dan, you're on. If you said something, I didn't hear it.
All right. Continue.
All right. So one other big news that kind of came out actually just yesterday, and I know Eric and I touched on this on Twitter, but Vicarious Visions. So one of my favorite games of last year was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake. Probably one of the best remakes I've ever played in my life. It was staggering how good that game was. I know it won our best remake award for our season gaming awards. It won all sorts of, super highly reviewed. But they've apparently previously developing under the Activision banner. Blizzard, because it's Activision Blizzard, of course, Blizzard has now pulled that team in of about 200 people, pulled that team under the Diablo department, if you will, under Blizzard, and they're putting them as part of the team working on the Diablo 2 remake, which is titled Resurrected. So you've now got the Diablo 4 kind of overarching project team overseeing development of Diablo 4. Diablo, what's the mobile one called? Anyone remember?
Oh man,
Immortal.
Is that what it is? Diablo Immortal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank
Don't you have phones? That one?
yeah, the mobile one.
And it's supposed to be good, by the way.
It looks good for a mobile game. I'm not a mobile game guy, but it looks good for what it is. But yeah, so this one's kind of weird for me because I adore Diablo, one of my favorite IPs. Several hundred hours alone in Diablo 3. I can't even count how many hours I must have had in the other Diablos, like all up. Probably thousands. But so hearing this team, which is very talented and stacked on talent, is now going to help with Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's great news in one way, but it does leave me really disappointed to think that team's not going to be involved in anything more with the Tony Hawk remake, whether it be other remakes or more content, whatever they had originally maybe planned. So kind of disappointing there. But Eric, I'll start with you, man, because I know you commented on this as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you, man. Like, I get it. Like, you have a team that's pretty stellar, and Diablo 4 has to hit. Like,
yeah,
it can't drop and it's questionable or it's got issues or it's got whatever the case may be. Like, they have to like hit the ground running with that. So
people forget how bad Diablo 3 was when it launched.
Right.
It was a disaster.
So yeah, they have to make sure that every part of that is on point. So if this is just kind of pulling people in to say, hey, we got to make this happen, that's the case. But yeah, it's definitely disappointing because, like you said, it would be one thing if like Tony Hawk 1 and 2 was just terrible, like a terrible like remake or whatever the case may be, and you go, okay, whatever. But you're kind of thinking like it did really well, they delivered. We're definitely going to be getting like 3 and 4 and whatever the case may be. And now we may not. That's disappointing, but at the same time, if it means Diablo 4 is going to be incredible, it's like the trade-off.
Yes.
So yeah, like I said, it hurt. It definitely hurts, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if they have other plans for Tony Hawk or another team that they're going to give that to, but it's kind of that thing where it's like if someone cooks you something really good, you want that from them again. It's like scary to go to the restaurant next door. So yeah, that's kind of my thought on it, man. It's like it is what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I hope they're not putting that Capcom D team from the basement on Tony Hawk.
No, man. It's like the janky team.
It's not to say that this is a permanent switch, right? They could technically let them go back and after Diablo 2's done.
Well, no, in the announcement, they said Diablo 2 Resurrected and future Blizzard projects, but they will no longer work on Tony Hawk. It's in the announcement.
Not Tony Hawk necessarily.
Oh,
like why couldn't Blizzard, do something else, and say they could remake a game, I don't know, like Parasite Eve or something. Does that mean, are they going to go from Diablo 2 to Overwatch to, something, and just stay there, or, is it dissolved completely? Vicarious Visions?
No. The entire team, 200 people, is now, I said absorbed. So Activision Blizzard is kind of your parent company,
Sure,
right?
right?
They were making games for Activision. They've literally moved into Blizzard underneath the Diablo department.
Okay. So yeah, they're done. Yeah, well, yeah.
It was good while it lasted.
I mean, they should be proud of what they did. They did 2 amazing, remakes, at least. Crash and Tony Hawk was insane how good it was. For a remake.
It was almost perfect. Like when I reviewed it, I couldn't find a fault to call out. Like
they did an amazing job. So, I mean, I can't think of somebody else that I'd rather have working on Diablo 2 remaster, remake, whatever they're doing. I mean, with that experience and bringing that to the table, awesome, because that's one of my favorite games of all time. I actually still like Diablo 2 better than 3.
A lot of people say that. Yeah.
I'm on that bandwagon. So, it sucks for possible future remakes, but also great for Diablo 2 remake. So
I don't agree. I don't think it's a good move at all.
Nobody asked you, Luke.
Let me tell you something, Diet Joe. Here's the thing. Vicarious Visions just has such a good talent slate, and they're so good at what they do that I don't like the idea that they're now strictly assigned to Blizzard. The versatility, the talent that's there, I would have rather seen them diversify a little bit or branch out and do something on their own. It gives me almost Blue Point vibes, and I would hate to see Blue Point be assigned to just one one franchise, and that just makes me worry. Diablo 2 is great, is deserving of a remake, and I agree with you guys. They are a great and talented studio to do it, but the wording and the news that's coming from this, it makes me sad to see a talented studio like Vicarious Visions seemingly be, I guess you would say, stepped into a closet and told to only make this, no freedoms. It worries me. And Dan, I can just see you gearing up for this next statement or two. Bring it. Go ahead and tell me.
Shout out to the PlayStation show. My buddy, my brother, my Puerto Rican compadre. Wow, what a compliment. I know, I'm basically called Diet Joe. So that will be my new name next week. So I'm going to get a shirt made up.
You know what? I feel like it's just me and Phasma over here on Luke Island. Thank you, Phasma.
Luke Island.
You're right. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to see them, be able to stay where they were and do those things. I'm just saying, given the situation and given what Blizzard actually is, which they put out some amazing games, but they're also under the Activision umbrella. It's just I'm not a huge fan of those big companies like that, because it's mostly about the money.
Specific IPs that are going to make the money.
Right. Yeah. And then, I mean, when you see the results and what they've done, it does make you, it's like, damn, man. But I'm also, with Diablo 2, great. I mean, I'd rather them be doing that than working on something like Overwatch 2, because their talent seems, more geared towards something to that effect. Damn you, big businesses.
Wait, Luke, you said this next comment. Did you ever get to it?
No, I don't know what he's talking about.
You said this next comment's he was gearing up for it.
No,
I can just see him, putting one in the chamber.
He thought stuff was going. There's a lot less going on up here, Luke, than you give me credit for. Let me tell you something. Mostly just, what am I going to eat after this? So,
you think
Eric, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say what. Okay, I guess I got that completely wrong. I didn't even realize that they were being assigned to Diablo 2 remake. I thought they were coming in to be support on Diablo 4.
No, they are. Okay. I can pull it up for specifics actually, but yeah, no, they're working on Resurrected. It says right here, will partially be handed to the team. So there's other developers within Blizzard working on Diablo 2 Resurrected already, but the team, this is according to the report from Bloomberg and Dan's favorite guy over there. But according to the report, Team 1, who was previously responsible for the poorly received Warcraft 3 remake, they've been pulled off of Diablo 2 development. And that was a team of like 25-year veterans at Blizzard, apparently. The division responsible for Diablo 4 has taken over development, to which the team at Vicarious Visions will be added. So it's kind of a combination of Vicarious Visions, and some of the Diablo 4 team are going to be overseeing the Diablo 2.
So Diablo 2 must have been a mess.
That's what it's sounding like, yeah. Or they're not hitting the vision that they wanted.
Wow. Okay.
So kind of interesting, but I mean, these things sound bad only because they're public. A lot of this kind of stuff goes on all the time, and we're just not aware of it. So at the end of the day, all we have to hope, right, is that Blizzard did this for good reason. They might have been looking at this remake and its tracking and its progress and saying, what the hell are you guys doing? That's an important game. You cannot fuck up Diablo 2. Literally, I mean, people will show up, at Blizzard with pitchforks. I'm not going to make any political reference here, but it would be really bad. Like Diablo 2 for that community, the Diablo community and the PC community is literally like on a pedestal above nearly anything else of all time. I mean, it's that high. So there's no way you can release that game and not do it justice. It has to be done right, which I think is probably why Blizzard is like, look, we've got to get good people on this right now.
Well, at least they're aware. Because like you said,
that's true. Yeah, that's
certain things you can't. Yeah, there's sacred ground that you cannot do anything. You have to make sure you're on point. So I guess Diablo as a franchise is just one of them, but Diablo 2 in particular. Yep, get it right. So.
All right. So only a couple other things to touch on. These are quick ones, guys. But I want to touch on, and this is a game I know no one, I won't say no one, but I know few people are paying attention to, and that's Balan Wonderworld. I don't know if any of you guys are paying attention to this. This is the new game from Yuji Naka. And if you don't know who Yuji Naka is, well, one, you shouldn't be listening to the show, but he is the creator of Sonic and also did Nights into Dreams on the Saturn. So if you don't remember this was kind of previewed. I think Xbox has the marketing rights for it. It's a new game from Square Enix. But this is, the fact that this is from Yuji Naka, there's a reputation there and an expectation of kind of quality. But it looks very, very kind of traditional. It looks very similar to Knights, actually, almost like really a modern Knights. But it's it's got local co-op. And it's supposed to be very, early impressions have been very kind of enjoyable, just a very, very fun, kind of colorful game to play. And the only reason I wanted to bring this up is there's a demo for it that's launching on Thursday. So same day Medium launches, kind of a contrast of games there. But, just to shout out that if you're a fan of games like Sonic and Knights and all those kind of cartoony, very Japanese, colorful platforming type games, there's a demo for that coming Thursday. And I think that'll probably gain, assuming it's of the quality we expect, it'll gain an audience beyond what many may think.
Yeah, that's my jam. I love Knights.
Okay,
so definitely on my radar. Because I've always kind of wanted a Knights remake.
Yeah, or even sequel. I know people called for that for years. Yeah.
So maybe I don't know, depending on how this does, or maybe because they're remaking this and they have something of a new engine with it now, maybe we'll get that. But no, the minute I heard he was doing this and I saw like gameplay of it, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely checking this out.
Yeah, it looks right up that alley.
It does. Looks like something from Dreamcast. I'm down with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right. Dan, Luke, I can see you guys just thinking of all these incredible things you want to say about Balan Wonderworld.
No, I was just reflecting on how much I loved my Dreamcast and some of the games that are many people don't know, but I just loved Dreamcast. And when Eric says he's getting Dreamcast vibes, it makes me more excited because I don't even know that I would have a special interest in Balan Wonderworld. But when you have something that reminds you of good times, it brings you in. And there's a demo, which is not typically my MO. I'm not one to typically play demos and betas. However, you guys are accidentally selling me on it, as you talk about it. And that's the best way to be sold on something unintentionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I don't know if it's gotten a lot of press. We have it on our side, of course, but it's good to know the demo's out there, gains an audience. Yuji Naka is a very highly respected guy. So I wanted to shout it out.
Yep.
Anyway, not playing beta. So you're telling me you're not going to play Halo Infinite beta?
So I actually saw your how to play. It was through you that I saw the how to play it, and I don't know. Now here's the problem with Luke.
Okay, I just want to say ahead of time, you should factor in that if you plan to keep up with me even a little bit, you better get in on that game early and start putting the time in.
Look, when you're as good as me at video games, some things don't work. But I often debate and go back and forth on playing betas, playing demos versus just waiting for the initial progress of stuff. And it depends on the type of game. Sure. I'm also notorious for not being excited for a game, sans Halo Infinite, which I'm over the moon for, until it's available, and then I go nuts for it. That is something that I tend to do. The amount of steps you have to do to play the early beta, you got to be in the insider program, then register for it on the Halo forums, I believe.
Yeah,
that's a lot to lock out casual gamers, which I think is their point. That's what they want. They want only the dedicated.
Yeah,
and
then
from
percentage of the Halo insiders will get in, not all.
Oh, it's even more interesting.
Yeah,
even more interesting. So, Ains, you're all about playing it early, even if it doesn't do well or progress doesn't carry. You'd rather play it early and just find out. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you like Reach beta, for instance. That was like, if I remember correctly, like 2 maps. I think it was 2 maps. There was no progression. I can't tell you. I probably put hundreds of hours into it. It's just the competitive Halo guy in me, man. It's like I need to feel what the game feels like. I need to get the mechanics down, the movement, all those things, so that on day one, it's I'm ready to roll.
I think that's the difference, though, is that I enjoy existing in the Halo universe because of the lore. When I play multiplayer, I have Halo scenarios in my mind that I'm thinking of, or elements from the book or something, or the books or whatnot. I enjoy Halo for the more single-player lore-based topics versus, I think, the multiplayer competitive side. As much as I do enjoy that, Halo 5, man, tons of hours in it. I love MCC as well. But it's more lore enjoyment for me. So I think that's the reasoning difference before it. I'm not the right guy to test a beta for tuning and getting the movement down. I'm not the right guy to give the feedback for it either. I'm just the guy that loves being a Spartan when the time is right to be a Spartan.
Fair enough.
I'm the guy that lets Ains carry me through.
Yeah.
Don't worry, man. Over the years, I've created such a big backpack for my friends. I just throw them on the back and chug through.
I'll gladly climb in because
Although I'm kind of worried because I'm not joking. I take Halo, like major Halo releases, pretty seriously. Do the midnight launch, take time off of work, do nothing but plan to play that game and be competitive. And I'm not a young buck anymore. The reflexes aren't what they used to be. So I'm kind of worried I'm going to jump into Infinite later this year and like go full into it and still get my ass kicked and be like, oh man, this is rough.
I think you can't take time off. You take a week off from it, and then it's like all of a sudden you're behind everyone else. You're like, oh,
yeah. And nowadays, no doubt.
This is the chapter of Ains' life story where he starts to consider purchasing an aimbot and going down a dark road, right?
That's my Halo midlife crisis.
Yeah.
I got an idea. What if we had multiplayer Padawans? Like you get some young person, you train them up, you impart your wisdom of the years on them. Get behind them like that's what you do. You shoot that guy. Yeah,
There you go.
There's no backpack big enough for me. Literally and physically. And like it's not gonna happen. So
I never forget when we played Apex, Dan, and we played Pub. Yeah. And just oh my god, your reactions to like getting shot and where things were coming from were killing me.
No clue.
He's like standing in the middle of a field, getting shot. He's like, what is going on?
I'm wearing this big bright orange vest. What the hell, man?
All right, I want to get over to Hitman 3 because it's the big release this weekend, Dan. I know you're reviewing it for us, and we're going to touch on it. But just before, and we don't even have to really comment, but if you weren't aware, the Cyberpunk first title update is out. Stability fixes, bug fixes, et cetera, et cetera. We're not even going to get into it. But let's move over to Hitman 3, man. So I haven't picked this game up. I'm actually not playing it. But Dan, I know this was one you're really looking forward to. It's reviewed extremely well. People seem to be loving it, barring whatever those transfer issues. I don't even know the details of all the issues that were going on.
A lot of issues.
Okay, but you want to educate us a little bit and let us know your early thoughts?
So basically, what from Hitman 2, when you launched that game, not initially, but they got to a point where you could, and this is some cool stuff. You're able to basically play all the Hitman 1 games through Hitman 2 with all the updates and visuals and all that stuff and systems, gameplay, all that stuff. So they did that again and brought over 1 and 2 into 3. I mean, that's with the updated visuals, updated items, like the camera and stuff. Okay. Problem was they launched the progression. Like you have a progression, you have a level that you get to, or that you work on. I think I was at about right around 100, which is amazing because I got it for the PS5 and I only got it like 3 weeks ago. So I play a little bit too much, but so they launched that website. It wasn't game based. It wasn't like in the game. It wasn't based on. It was based on your IOI account, and the problem was they launched it at the same time globally, basically, and it was never tested. I guess it was never, So your progression, first of all, wouldn't carry over until they went and fixed whatever they had to fix. And then people are also having issues actually accessing the content. This is mostly on the Xbox side. And I've been kind of talking to our friend Mo about it because he's been having some issues. And it's either like yesterday he found out that he had the demo installed. Well, the demo is basically the whole game without the access to you can only access like the first mission and then like the first cutscene. But you could basically go in, press a button, and it would, but you have to download all those missions separately.
Like the episode stuff.
It's episodic, but it's not episodic. Hitman 2. There's so much going on, but it could also be an issue with the smart delivery because Hitman 2 is technically a Xbox One game. So it was last gen. So I don't know if it was trying, it was having issues with that at all. I mean, there's so many things that could have been. They're still kind of working out the kinks. Some people like me, I got on the PlayStation. I did have some issues initially with the progression, but eventually it loaded up. Then they had a server issue where you couldn't even get into the game. You could do it offline, but you couldn't. Nothing would save. And there's no point if you're trying to pull your progression over. You could play it through the game. Nothing would save once that progression then transfers. You would lose everything that you've done. So
can I expect like 6 weeks of articles and death threats?
No. Listen to me real quick. This is nothing like what Cyberpunk was like. This is even close.
Hey, Cyberpunk was playable, kind of.
That is true. There's not even a comparison there.
That's fine. So, but anyway, okay. Yeah, anyway. We don't have to hash that. But you're in the game. You've played it on PS5.
I played it on PS5. I haven't played the PSVR version yet. I'm hoping to get to that soon today. And it feels a little like expansion-like to me, and that's okay if they've improved everything else, but I'm not sure that they have enough yet. So, they've added like a camera, but it seems to be kind of useless except for in very specific situations. I thought they'd do a little bit more with that. Another thing I found out, you can't even take a damn screenshot on the PS5 because every time you hit the share button, it pauses the game. So you get like the controller map of the DualSense, and that's all you can take a picture of. It's so weird. So I don't know if on Xbox, if that share button works better, you can actually just hit the button and it automatically does it. I couldn't tell you, but it's a weird, and I don't know if that was for Hitman 2 because I never really took screenshots, but I tried to take one. The only way I can do it is to actually record a video and then take a screen cap of my video and save it. It's super bizarre. So that kind
of Joe just asked in the chat, is there a photo mode?
No.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
yes, but no.
Yeah, kind of. Right. Like you got the camera, and you can take pictures and stuff like that. Do you have it on Xbox, Luke?
Yes.
Can you like literally can you screen cap something with that button with the new Xbox controller? Can you?
Oh, that's a good question because I am using my Elite controller, which doesn't have that button.
Yeah.
Have you taken any screenshots? Just hitting the guide and why?
Yes.
And it works fine?
It does not work as well as a photo mode would, but to Dan's point, I will get the camera out, take a picture, and you can remove the UI in that. And then there you screenshot it. So it's a little obtuse.
Yeah, I got you.
And next to some of the better screenshot or photo modes that I've had with Immortals and with Miles Morales.
Of course, yeah. So this is what I was going to ask you, Dan. So I don't know if you know, but on PS5, you can customize how on PS4 you could too. The share button, you can change what it does. So you can change from a press, a double tap, and a hold, and what each of those things do. Because I changed mine. So I don't know what yours is set at, but maybe there's a. Say it again.
I'll go in and look because basically what I do is I press it and then it takes me to the options of capture.
It's the so when you press it, it does the create thing. So go into your PlayStation settings. There's an option where you can change between create, screenshot, and video, and you can change it between tap, double tap, and hold. So see if you can change it to where a single tap is screenshot, not create. That may fix your problem.
Yeah, hopefully that does, because that was super annoying. Yeah. Other stuff. I mean, it's. I'm a huge Hitman fan, and I've been a huge fan of this trilogy for a long time. Yeah. So I love more of the same, and what they've done here is it was always light on the story, like and now they're kind of tying that all together with a little bit more story. But it's just weird because they've had so many different iterations. The first one had these awesome, CGI cutscenes, that kind of moved story forward and they looked amazing. The second one came out and it was kind of stop motion setting pictures of, and then they kind of talk behind it. This one came out and it's back to the CGI stuff, but it seems like it's worse as far like from a graphical standpoint. Just in the CGI stuff, it doesn't seem like it pops as much as the first one did, but the story is better and they're kind of introducing, like, the levels are so much different. It's not just, okay, go hunt A, B, and C and grab this file. The first one maybe is like that. The second one is, you've heard those things where they talk about the Knives Out level. That was probably my favorite mission in the series so far, up until that point. And then the next level, it was completely it was just a different dynamic. They're changing how the missions work. It's not your typical, go hunt this person, go hunt this person. I mean, you're still doing that, but the way they have it laid out is a lot different, and it's actually pretty fun. But at the same time, you got 6 missions total, I think, is what it came with.
Okay.
So you're trying to, I'm trying to figure out how much, couldn't they have done this and just released more episodes for Hitman 2 and just upgraded everything?
I got
charge $dollars for a whole new experience. With now, assuming you own everything else, you're if you're looking about $100 to play 3 games, in the new engine with all the new stuff. Yeah, and I think that's a pretty damn good deal, especially for a game like this. And it has a ton of replayability. That's the biggest thing with Hitman, is going through and trying to get, all these different ways you can tackle the situation. They've minimized the stories, where the mission stories, where you used to have like 6 or 7 of them. Now you have 3. So, but there's still more out there, to do. They're just not, I guess, charted. They're not there for you to go, okay, I can use this as a guide. You can just find a way to do stuff. I mean, there's so many ways. I killed one of the targets with a unicorn horn, I think, yesterday, that broke off a statue somewhere, and she was standing on I just threw it at her head. Fantastic.
That's cool.
I threw a banana at her at first. I thought maybe that would knock her out. Did not knock her out, just kind of pissed her off. And then I died. But, there's a lot. They've added a lot more ways to do things. And once you get your progression carried over, I went back and started playing the first and second ones. So I'm kind of going back and forth right now. I'm trying to get those missions and get my levels up, get more items. Every time you level up, you get more items. You unlock different areas. That's all the same as it was before. I just don't know how much of a leap. It looks great. I know, I think it runs at native 4K and 60 frames on the Xbox. I think 1800.
Yeah, 60 frames as well. I think that's what I was just going to ask you. You're on PS5. Luke, you said you're playing it. Are you on Series X?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right.
It probably looks a little bit better. Then again, for me, it's never been a resolution.
I was going to say it's not a massive difference, really.
Probably, but it's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Joseph saying he killed someone on the toilet. I don't know why he's visiting guys in the toilet, but we'll cover that at a different time.
Yeah, there's so many. That's the hook so far, is that they've added so many cool new ways to take care of people and dispatch your targets, But at the same time, it's like they probably could have done this for $30.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is a solid 7. Got it.
It's a solid 7.
Luke, where are you at on this?
So I have to eat crow because I said on last week's episode of XEP that I was going to hold off on it, and then I ended up requesting
you
a
damned
code.
it. Yeah,
I did.
Okay.
And I just started it. I got the standard edition. It was the code they sent me, and I am really, really enjoying it. Like, it's really good. And I'm not a big Hitman guy, and it's frustrating because now I'm in and I really like it, and I'm learning how to read the menus properly. There's a lot of complexity to what Dan was saying in terms of like getting the older missions. I don't have the right versions of the older Hitman games to play them in the new engine because I got them through like Games with Gold through Games with Gold. So I'm anxious, and I might go back and play Hitman's 1 and 2, and I'm bummed that it's not in the new engine. But I'm really enjoying the game overall. I just have a lot to learn about how to read what the game wants me to do. What's the objective? What's the story mission within there? I'm liking it a lot, and I'm debating if I want to spend $30 to get all the Hitman 1. You have to have a certain like Game of the Year access pass for it, is what they're calling it.
Okay.
And so I'm debating if I want to do that because I'm really liking what I'm playing, but I'm lost in the story. I have no clue what's going on. I don't care that I don't know what's going on in this game because it's about the puzzle solving, and I'm liking a lot of that. It's really good.
Yeah.
Eric, I don't have anything to add because I don't have the game and haven't played it. Are you playing this at all?
I don't have Hitman 3. I have both Hitman 1 and 2 on PS4. I had started Hitman 1 around the time that it came out. Just never went back to it. It had nothing to do with the game itself. I really liked what I played, but it's just one of those things, like, it gets buried in a backlog because other things keep coming and coming and coming.
Of course.
Right? But for whatever reason with Hitman 3, like, I'm really feeling like the urge to really just go and start playing through the whole suite of everything. I will wait until I get the PS5 and kind of load all the season stuff in and do it that way.
Okay.
But I'm actually very interested in Hitman 3. Have no idea why I never really went back to play through Hitman 1 and 2, especially for the fact that that's one of Nick's like favorite franchises.
Nice.
So between that and Baldur's Gate, he's surprised.
Oh yeah, he's always preaching Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't exiled me from the show yet. But probably because I have the whole suite ready to go. So so I think he gives me some grace on that. But no, I mean, it's really cool seeing like the reviews on it and people having good impressions of Hitman, because Hitman's always kind of delivered for people when it comes to like stealth, but we kind of focus more on like Metal Gear and Splinter Cell and things like that. But yeah, I'm going to get to it eventually at some point. So, yeah, it
seems to hold a very unique spot in the industry as a game, and kind of scratch a specific itch, if you will. So it's good to see that they really kind of nailed it with this is their finale, really, right? I guess they're moving over to 007 after this.
Yeah, which kind of sucks because I love Agent 47, and it's one of those, characters that's been around for forever, and back since the original Hitman was a 360, and they're such good games. And this one's giving me much more of like an Absolution vibe than like the last two, which seemed to be more about the how than the why, But now that I'm there, and Luke, I would say 100% go back. And I mean, the amount of content you would be getting for that $30 is staggering, especially being able to play it in 4K, 60 frames. Although it's usually run pretty well anyway. It's always been kind of this, you had an option, I guess, in Hitman 2, but it's just so much, and once you get through like one level, you can you'll see all these things like, okay, I got to go back and try it this way next time. I can go back and try it this way next time. I said, I didn't get this. And it's become more about like the challenges, which are actually tracked and, give you the XP and stuff, than it has been about the story. But now, since they're tying it up, they're doing a really, really good job, telling that story, which is amazing. And everything from the other ones are starting to make more sense, I guess is what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Should I stop playing through 3's story, get the access pass for 1, beat that, then play through 2, but in the RE3, in the Hitman 3 engine, or should I play through 3 and then go back?
Oh, no, I mean, I know they have that cinematic at the beginning of Hitman 3. You can play, or you can see the story so far. That doesn't do it justice, because once there's so much of a learning curve. I think for there's a training mission. I think for Hitman 3. I think it's the same as 1. Actually, I think they just kind of took that one and put it over. But I don't know because I didn't play it. So I would say go back, play those games first, because not only the training missions will give you, and all those early missions will give you those kind of tutorials in game, and you can see there's just so many chances for these unique experiences, which is why I love it so much. There's so many chances. One time you go in and you sniper rifle somebody from a distance. Next time you beat them with the fish, over there.
So I was just my one comment I can add here, which is kind of funny, is at E3 2019, IO had a Hitman booth. And part of their Hitman booth was you could pose in front of this thing with friend or yourself or whatever. And they had all these goofy tools from the game. They had a hammer, they had a fish. You just made me think of it. They had this big rubber fish. And they had all these goofy things. And so what you could do is they would make a GIF of you killing someone in a goofy way. And so there is a GIF out there, which I don't know where it is, but of me smacking Bert with a fish across the face, which I wish I could find. I don't know where that is, but that was good fun. Yeah, and I actually have a little rubber ducky Hitman keychain from that too.
The best. Yeah, and plus another thing, Luke, with that is if you play through those missions, you're going to be earning that experience in that level. You'll be leveling up, which will give you more options the farther you get into Hitman. So if you start at the first one, you progress all the way to, say, where you're at now in Hitman 3, you'll have double or triple the amount of items to take with you on the missions to to do whatever you want with. I mean, the combinations are nearly endless.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool.
Yeah, I definitely applaud them for doing that, because you don't see many games that actually give you the access to all the old content and just make it one huge suite. I mean, that's definitely got to give props to devs when they do that.
Yeah, especially when it's a trilogy like that, right? Just yeah. It's it should be done more often, to your point.
Mm-hmm.
But cool, man, you guys are making me want to play it. But the only reason I really kind of held off on checking it out is because Medium's coming, and that's my focus 100%. But anyway, so let's just talk about other games you're playing then, man. Luke, I'll start with you. What else you been up to?
Well, as I said, I started Hitman. I'm also playing. There's no embargo on telling people that I'm playing. I'm playing Cyber Shadow, which comes out.
Okay, yeah, coming to Game Pass. What, next week?
Yep, day and date into Game Pass. I think if you look at the game and you see what it is and you see who's publishing it, you know exactly what you're getting. And that's all. They didn't give us an embargo timing on it. So, I think Cyber Shadow, if you look at it and you say you'll like it, you'll be just fine.
Cool.
Beyond that, I'm embarrassed to say how much I'm having a blast playing Fortnite. I got in when they added Master Chief, and I was like, I'll never play Fortnite. They added Master Chief in, and now I need a loan for V-Bucks because I am loving that game.
You're adding to those billions, huh?
Man, I've gotten the Terminator, got the Predator, I got Batman, I got the Joker. I'm loving this
So
game.
you already spent like $100 on it.
And I think what we need to focus on is that I'm spending time with my friends.
It's priceless. It's priceless time. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we got 3 wins back to back, and we're having a blast. That's a lot of what we're playing. We do a lot of Call of Duty. That's really been it. I've also been playing some indie games from 10 Tons. They do very kind of low budget, small twin stick shooters. I enjoy kind of those games in between bigger titles because I just wrapped up Immortals, and Watch Dogs Legion. So to have those 2 big games, it was nice to play multiplayer suites and smaller stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at there. But yeah, I'm surprised to say Fortnite really has been something I enjoy, and Call of Duty continues to be its own reward. Mr. Babbitt and I and our buddies Kev and Charles, we just every night, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, we jump on 2-3 hours of just hanging out, being silly, talking junk, and escaping. So it's been a good time.
That's awesome, man. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, what you been up to, man?
I've not actually more so been like kind of dabbling, like in backlog and actually older games. Like I went through recently BioShock Infinite. I don't know if you guys probably saw me sharing tons of screenshots from it because
now was that your first time?
No, I played that game so many different times. I'm gonna tell you, man, in our current world, play through that game again. I think like Nick from Gaming Perspective, he just played through it again recently. Yeah. And because he saw me doing it, and I said, Nick, this game is hitting in a way, it's hitting on a whole different level now. With our current climate of things. Sure. And it's just playing through it again. It's amazing how well it still holds up from a gameplay standpoint, and the story is trying to tell, and the mechanics and everything. And it's like, man, just BioShock in general. So when you show those statues, man, I almost shed a tear because that franchise just means so much to me.
Yep, me too. And Dan too, I know. Yeah. Just
special games, and BioShock Infinite I remember when that game came out, people kind of had an issue with it because it wasn't BioShock 1 and it was kind of doing some different things. But I would tell anybody, go back through that game now and you can see like this weird connection almost, because I'm also a huge fan of Dishonored. And I'm playing it. Actually, it made me go to like the wiki to see, was there a crossover of development here or teams? Because I'm like, it's amazing how much this game feels like a Dishonored game. So I was playing that. And then I jumped over. I had never played through Alice Madness Returns.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played that either.
Yeah. And Hector from lordsofgaming.net was talking about that game. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I've had this in my backlog. Been meaning to play it. Jumped on that. And, man, that thing is a fever. It's a fever dream. It's deep. It's dark. But it's really cool. And then from there, I jumped over to The Messenger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard great things about that. Yeah,
I've never gotten around to that one. So I've been doing like these like bites. Games. I haven't really devoted to anything, super, like big or anything. Because I'm going to be playing the Medium next week as well. Yeah. But The Messenger, man, is just freaking hilarious. I didn't realize that funny.
Yes.
Yeah. So Cloud reviewed that for us at SG, and the thing that he said is really unique about that game is that as you progress, it almost goes through the eras of gaming. Like it turns from an 8-bit title to a 16-bit title. He said, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, and I haven't got to that portion where it does. I knew that was one of the things about it, but just from the gameplay, it's very much a love letter to that generation of gaming. From 8-bit to 16-bit. Yeah. The 8-bit part they're nailing, but I heard you just agreed, Luke. But the humor, it is so freaking funny. Like it knows it's a game. It just plays with those tropes that of games where they used to be so serious. Going through a Castlevania was so serious. Yeah, this one is like, it's just playing with the tropes, sort of like what Shovel Knight did. Which Shovel Knight's another game that I absolutely love. So this has been like a breath of fresh air. I'm not sure why it took me so long to play it. I have it on Switch, but now it's in Game Pass, so I jumped on it in there, and I'm rocking it, man. I'm loving it. It's been cracking me up the whole way. So,
I had the dev of The Messenger on XEP a couple months back, and that was really cool. And when I talked to him, I just transitioned to the 16-bit phase of the game.
Okay.
And Eric, that's like a separate game. You should think of them as an 8-bit game and then a 16-8-bit hybrid, because it transitions from Ninja Gaiden to Super Metroid, which is totally different. Different. And it was really hard mentally to go from one to the other. And once I was okay with it, I was like, oh, okay, I got it. But it is way different. Different. Okay. Yeah.
And the music is great too, man. But just the banter between Ninja and the shopkeeper, dude, I'm just dying. The stories he tells. Yeah. So I definitely recommend that. Definitely check out The Messenger.
Yeah, it's just another one I need to play. That got me thinking about BioShock though. Like I've always wanted to go back to Infinite. I actually only played through Infinite once. And I've always wanted to go back to it. And especially the expansion that connects it to BioShock 1, which is mind blowing at the time.
Oh man.
Beyond the Sea, was it?
Oh yeah. So good.
Yeah. Unreal.
So good, man. Yeah.
So that franchise, man, we know it's in development, right? We know it's coming back, but as we've talked about, we don't know if Ken Levine's involved or what that's even going to look like. So
BioShock's interesting because we're just talking about Diablo. We know Rod Ferguson is over there now working on that, right?
Yep.
And without Rod, BioShock Infinite doesn't ship.
Correct.
That game was a mess. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, they call Rod like the closer, right? And he moves into development and kind of gets teams focused, which is funny. So, yeah, the only thing I was going to touch on is Yakuza again. So I've been kind of texting Dan because I know obviously he reviewed it and finished it. I'm pretty near the end now. Really high level. I got really pissed off this morning, Dan, after I had texted you last time because I was fighting the guy. It's a spoiler, so I won't say who it is, but it was like that one, big boss battle of that guy. And I'm kicking his ass, got him down to like, a third health. And I'm like, all right, it's methodical, working through it. He's tough, having to revive and do all that. All of a sudden, he does a 4-hit combo on me and then immediately does another 4-hit combo. So 8 hits in a row that you couldn't block, heal, nothing, and just killed me. And I'm just like, all right, come on. If it's turn-based, make it turn-based. Don't just take 9 turns in a row and kill me.
So it's all based on, the initiative part, which is very dodgy. I'll just put it that.
It is, yeah, it is.
That was one of my biggest issues with it. It's like when you come down, the roll for initiative. It's just like, why all of a sudden this guy, like, he's like 350 pounds. How is he so fast that he has?
Yeah, my squad is like super high at that too. Like I literally all 4 of my guys always fight first before anyone does anything. But all of a sudden it was just like, all right, bang, 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 and then immediately bang, 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 I'm dead. And it ended. It was like 10 minutes into combat into one battle, and I'm like, oh come on, man, that's not right. But that goofy complaint aside, the game's still fantastic. The story is. I think the story, honestly, Dan, I think it's a little long-winded. It's like there's so many twists and turns and character changes and all this stuff. It's a little over the top, but that's kind of typical of JRPGs.
And also,
say it again.
And also, like just the Yakuza franchise as a whole. I mean, it's always been, you never know what's going to happen because it just comes out of left field sometimes.
Just off the wall.
Like, what the hell? But
but it's good. Like it's acted well. The characters are very cool and kind of amiable. I really like, I like a lot of aspects of that game. It's a good JRPG. And I honestly, if it had real-time combat, Dan, I wouldn't be as interested. I love the turn-based combat.
That's
because I love the job system and, designing around who's going to attack when and the combo attacks. And, there's just a lot that you can play off there that in a real-time combat system, you can't really. And so that makes it really enjoyable to me.
You wouldn't have that party aspect of it either, though. So it'd just be like you versus.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So it's been really fun. And anyway, I'm right near the end of that. My whole goal was to finish that before the medium, which I actually may accomplish. So I may beat a game for once, which is nice. One that I'm not reviewing.
I have that one as well to play. I'm looking forward to jumping in.
It's surprising. I was not a Yakuza fan, if you didn't know. So Dan's a huge Yakuza fan. I am not. I've tried, I want to say 2 of them, very short periods of time. They just never interested me. But this one kind of sucks you in pretty quickly. And it's just really well kind of paced and acted. And the way they introduce mechanics and concepts just continues to feed over time. So it's really good.
Great steelbooks too, right?
Yeah, I got both of them.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, they're sitting right up there actually on my shelf. Yeah, they're cool. I got a great deal, like because I didn't buy it at launch.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so I found it online. Guy sold it to me for the day 1 edition steelbook with the Best Buy steelbook. Got all of that for $35.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, I think around right after Black Friday. I think I got that at Best Buy for like $30 or something, like 35.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
Done.
Yeah, and it's a long game. It's not short. Like I don't know, Dan, if he keeps track of how many hours, but I've been playing it for a while.
I have no idea where I was at. Maybe 70 or 80.
It's long. Yeah, I've easily got 50 plus for sure.
Did you stop doing the business mini game?
I kind of got bored of it.
See, that was your problem.
Why?
That's one of the most amazing parts of the game. Initially, it's kind of hard to understand. That's the biggest issue.
There's a lot to it. No, I've done. I mean, I didn't stop immediately. I've got the share price up. I've done a few of the shareholder meetings. I've bought a couple properties, but I just haven't gone to where it's like all the way at the top. I haven't done that. I only did some of the carding too. I haven't finished the carding.
Tied into that though too.
The what?
So there's like a whole side mission story section tied into that will affect the rest of the game as well.
Yeah.
So after you get all the way done,
Okay.
which
I got
takes forever.
The other annoying thing I told Dan this morning is I hit level 50. I'm now 51. There's an achievement for getting to level 50. It's just never popped. It's just sitting there locked. And it says like 26% of players have it. And I'm like, well, what the hell is going on with me then? I don't know.
Glitched achievements are the worst.
It's just stupid.
It's
Yeah.
the worst. I have one right now in my mind that it's killing me. And it's, what do? You can give me my fantasy points. You know?
Yeah. I just want to see if, like, I'm not a big achievement guy, so it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not trying to 100% the game because there's some ones that'll take forever. But it's just like, if I did it, just do it. So, Dan, anything else other than Hitman 3, man, you want to call out?
I'm trying to think. Nope. Still downloaded a bunch of games that I haven't even touched yet. Like an idiot. But
Well, I installed Pathless for you. I haven't touched it yet because I'm trying to finish Yakuza, but I have Pathless ready. And we still got to play Scott Pilgrim, too.
I still haven't touched Ghost Runner. Most of the Hitman. So once that's over, I'm probably going to jump onto that.
Okay.
Games.
Or I'm going to wait for the next gen upgrade. I haven't decided yet. But now
on Ghost Runner, you mean?
Runner.
Yeah.
And
it's
it's
coming
been
this
most of that stuff. And then I'll get into the VR stuff, hopefully.
So
Today,
Elu and sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. That was
Okay. Elu and chat talked me back into getting back into Mortal Kombat because we were, Cog and I had that chat where we were talking about the old arcade days, which made me think of it. And Elu was talking about playing Mortal Kombat, so I picked up Ultimate so that I could get the Aftermath expansion, which I never got, and just the final combat pack with Melina and whatnot. I didn't realize that game was upgraded for Series X and PS5. Mortal Kombat 11.
Big difference?
It's staggering. Like,
Really?
I've played Gears 5, played Demon Souls. I've played all these games that are considered kind of the pinnacle of console graphics right now. And obviously there's a lot less going on kind of in the world because it's a flat plane fighting game, right? Mm-hmm. But in terms of actual fidelity of what is on the screen in front of you, it's absolutely unbelievable how good that game looks. Like I couldn't even fathom it at times. We were playing in different arenas and we would just stop and I'd be like, holy crap, like it's ridiculous.
That just makes me want Injustice 3, which as a diehard Batman fan, well, and DC fan, I love superheroes, but the Injustice game was so good and had such a good story. And Mortal Kombat 11 also had a really good story.
Yeah, it did.
It makes me want so badly to see NetherRealm make a game that's not a fighting game because they're good with story.
Yeah.
And I want to see more Injustice because if you're telling me the new MK11 looks this good, now I'm thinking like, all right, do I re-download it? What are they going to do with the next one? Oh God, I'm just excited by that.
You should re-download. You have MK11?
Yes.
Yeah, re-download it, get the enhancement, and just play it for 5 minutes just to see it because it's. I'm telling you, I was in awe of how good it looks.
Cue that up right now.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I mean, and then I reviewed that game, but it came out a couple years ago. It's not a new game, so I hadn't played it since. And there's now like 39 characters. We played the other day. We used RoboCop and Rambo, and which I'm kind of here or there on, honestly, because I'm a diehard MK guy, and I feel that kind of detracts from it a little bit. But it is funny. But yeah, it's just the amount of content in that game now with the story, the aftermath, 39 characters. Like it's unbelievable from a fighting game perspective, just how much that game does and does right. So yeah, it's going to be interesting if NetherRealm does step out of that because it's been many years now where that's their focus. And they're a real strong developer, but yeah.
Remember when the WB was looking to shop off their game studios?
Yep.
And we started going down the ideas of like, okay, if Xbox picked them up, if this people, where these games or franchises would go, these teams would go.
Yep.
I was always in the camp that NetherRealm going to anybody is a huge get, no matter who gets them, because they're just that good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly right. So I still am kind of in awe that I got to meet Ed Boon last year, kind of.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was just so weird as growing up playing MK in arcades and tournaments and stuff and getting to actually shake his hand and get a picture with him was just surreal.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. If you ever get to talk to him again, tell him he's missing out by not putting the Last Dragon DLC. You need like Sho'nuff and Leroy Green, Come on, man. Tell me that would be dope to have show enough in Mortal Kombat.
That's a big callback right there. That's gonna miss some of our audience for sure.
I know, but still, man, us old heads, we'll rock with that, man.
Man, I haven't thought about that forever. Good Lord. You saw my face. It took me a second. I'm like, Last Dragon, what's he? Oh, yeah. That's great. J-Mo, thanks, man. Yeah, the statues, it's incredible. And you got this little switch so you can make him, happy.
Nice, man.
Yeah, it's badass. So anyway, my video. So yeah, I was actually going to say, we're going to go ahead and start closing out, guys. But yeah, if you want to see more of that, my unboxing and review of it is on our channel. Along with the not Bouncer, that's the Bouncer, the Rosie statue as well from the same line. They're incredible pieces. So if you're a BioShock fan, definitely check those out. There's we were just talking about fighting games. Elu, who's been in the chat, wrote a fantastic article on fighting games and just kind of the sense, what they mean to people like us who used to play in the arcade and have moved to online, and what the online arena is like now compared to the arcade. And he's just a fantastic writer. So please check that article out if you get time. And then, thanks to everyone who tuned into the Industry Perspectives chat with me and Cog over the past 2 weeks. That was a real fun one to do. I actually have the next one coming out middle of the week as you're listening to this with Asa from Game On Daily. So he was in the chat here earlier, but he's the co-owner of Game On Daily, a very tech-savvy guy. And we talk through a lot of things from gaming journalism and media to he's a big VR guy. We talk about VR extensively and a few other things. So that's in the editing software now, and that'll be live probably Wednesday when you're listening to this. So just a lot of good stuff happening on the site right now. So thanks for everyone tuning in and, always supporting us. So with that, let's get ready to get out of here, guys. Luke, where can people find you, man? Not that our audience doesn't already know, like I like to say.
Hey, I'm happy to plug. The Xbox Expansion Pass is available on all podcast services. Of course, it's a solo Xbox show that I do, and it is newly available over on YouTube. It's a very low maintenance way for me to just transfer the audio file, but it would mean the world if you guys would go follow the Xbox Expansion Pass on YouTube.
I don't know how I missed that. I didn't know you were on YouTube now.
Yeah, it's not a highly produced thing. Again, production is not my jam when I do the solo stuff, so it's just the audio file over there. But it means the world to have that available to people who are willing to check it out on another platform. As you guys know, I try to have a guest on from the gaming industry every 2 to 3 episodes. I most recently had Shelby Young, a voice actor for games like Wolfenstein, Dead Rising, and she's in Star Wars, a Star Wars show, and just a really cool actor to have on. And I've got a few on the way down in the pipeline as well. So looking forward to chatting with you guys more. And more than anything, most importantly, please go follow the Trophy Room on YouTube and then downvote everything. Okay?
I was waiting for the catch. Yeah. I was like, boo, rate Luke 5 stars, boo. Oh, man. Eric, man, thanks for coming out. Obviously, in the notes, I talk about Basement Radio Arcade podcast and Gaming Perspective, but please, man, shout it out.
No, once again, man, it's always a pleasure to come through and hang with you guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Always good to podcast with Luke whenever we get the opportunity. You guys are, as a group, some of my favorite content creators, so definitely keep it up. Well, yeah, other than that, you can find me Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock on gaming. I'm sorry, I'm getting them confused. Tuesday night, we have a new time for Gaming Perspective. We're Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock, and then Brad Podcast, 9 o'clock Wednesday night. And then other than that, you can find me on Twitter, Ecjaxson with an X.
There you go. Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks for coming out. Sorry for the short notice. The week just got away from me.
I don't go anywhere, man.
Yeah, we're all at home, right? So,
yeah.
No, always a pleasure to have both of you on. It's been a really fun conversation today. So thank you, guys. Absolutely. Dan, when can we expect your 7-point review of Hitman 3?
I'm hoping by next weekend, but I make no promises because I like to be thorough. You know me and my thoroughness. So I'm about halfway through the game, I think.
Okay,
so,
cool.
I might just throw VR on now, just trying to try it out and see what it.
Is the VR for Hitman 3 already available?
I don't know. I assume so. I'm pretty sure you have. The problem is with it, you have to have it. I basically have it installed twice because it runs in backwards compatibility mode. So you have to have the PS4 version installed to play the VR. So it's not smart delivery. So the PS5 version I play normally, and then the PS4 version is for VR.
Yeah, I got you.
Sounds like dumb delivery. Am I right?
Not so smart delivery, is it?
Smart delivery. So.
Okay, cool, man. Well, guys, thank you as always. Chat, you guys have been awesome. Thank you very much for coming by on this interesting Saturday. It's kind of miserable here, but it's been a pleasure talking to you guys at least. So that was Bitcast episode 138. As always, we will see you next week. Thank you. Until then. And as usual, Dan, I don't have the outro ready.
Why would you?
Thanks, guys.